Welcome. So, just going to go on a walk here with Michelle in a few minutes, and we are in Nishkoro, Wisconsin. Probably never heard of that. I never did it either until recently. Michelle's parents are out here, so we kind of come out here and visit and go out on the water and stuff. So, I got it going already, babe. We're recording.
Are we?
Yep. So,
All right, I'm at 15,000 steps right now.
15,000 steps. How many of those did I do with you?
One.
Good. A whole step with you?
I'm just circling around you, babe.
Oh, one step. At least I did one. I think I've 800x'd already by now. So, we had a good talk today. We really had a lot of insights. I wanted to share some of those things, not the least of which are the amazing relationship that we have with horseflies now. I didn't know what they were until I came out here, and
Well, they're deer flies.
I had deer flies. That's right. I had to make friends with them because they don't leave you alone, and so you might as well make peace with them. Yeah. So that, and there's dogs that have leashes that come out to the middle of the street. So if you see me take off running all of a sudden with Michelle flying down the street, it means that there's a dog in the neighborhood just running after us.
Always an adventure.
Oh, for sure. So today we were going over something. I don't profess a lot of like power into this stuff, but there is something about it, like the numbers, the power of the numbers. They do really tell a story. Okay. Michelle's a 22. I mean, how rare is this? 22 is the master number. It's creation, destruction. It's the number for a master, an earth master.
And you calculated that based on my birth date, right?
It's your birth date, yes. So you're a 22. I'm a 7. And my 7 is really a 777. And if you take the 22 and the 777, you know, you get the, what is that? It's 14, 21 plus 22. You got 43, another 7, right? So you get another 7. But then when you take the 7 and the 22, you get the master number 11. And I thought, you know how crazy this is? I'm going to show you how crazy this is. Before we even thought of this, before we even figured this out, I came up with the idea with Michelle. We were speaking about names, and we had, you know, awaken. We thought of these names, and all of a sudden I'm like, it's a tone at 1. Well, what is the 1 and the 1? What's 11? It's 1 at the 1. It's at 1. And then when I set up the landing page offering this workshop, I'm going to do called the new man. I put the suffix at the end of the URL, a tone 11. That was like a week ago before we even did this. So really, it does have a tell. We are playing out our lives through the numbers. And I'm ecstatic because a 22 talked about this. When I first started my hockey career, I was a 22 as a little youngster. Like, you know, I remember I was 3 years old skating. By the time I was 5, I was sporting the number 22 for the Lakers and skating along and having fun. And then I switched over to number 15 in high school, and I went back to 22 toward the end of my career. And the 22. So it looks like how you do anything is how you do everything, right? So I started life as a 22, and I went through the energy of the number 15, which is a 6, which is like mind energy, you know? Then I end the cycle on a 22. So for me, it's the culmination of the cycle of this lifetime coming through to the 22 and reuniting with the 22 all over again. Kind of fun, huh? Yeah. Now, that's completely useless information for you listening to this, but it is exciting because it does have a lot to do with what we are synergistically creating together. And amazing. We worked on some stuff last night. So you are the first person ever that has done this technique with me, the eye of God, right? What did you think about it last night, just doing that first trial run? What was your first impression of doing it for just a short time?
I feel like this is easy, but powerful, and, you know, more simple than I think I was expecting. You know, it's really effective and easy, actually very fast. So
Yep.
yeah, I think it can be very powerful. I think it's very accessible for a lot of people, and I think it can be used for a lot. Like its use can be very widespread for many, many, ailments and issues. So.
Yep. Awesome. Well, I like that because that's a real insight into what, I think you're going to experience if you take it. And you'll have to come to the workshop to take it with us. I'm only going to unpack this at the live retreat in October. And yeah, I'm super, super stoked about it. I discovered something that's in this new technique that it really blew my mind, because even for myself, I've seen so much, but this is something I've never seen before. Is we start to bring forward through a process called transference all of these unconscious programs, and we use the process of transference to call them forth. And I started to see how it has to do with relationships and relating, and how we do anything is how we do everything. And we start to see the synchronicities of how we are really approaching life. And what happens is when you change the way you approach life and change your filters, your perceptions, which become your beliefs, watch what happens. Just watch what happens. So what did you think about that when I linked that together? Like how we're doing one area is how we've done the other area.
I've never thought about it that way, and it kind of just blew my mind that I've never thought about it that way, because it's just so simple and it makes sense. And it's like, well, why didn't I think of that? So yeah, it really does make sense. And you start, like I started to see, well, there's positive things that I associate, my experiences and my relationships with positive things. And then there's, other feelings and associations with other, physical things that really represent relationships and our experiences, and that really have kind of helped us develop programs that we aren't always consciously aware of. So unless you take that time to really reflect, which is what I'm all about. So you have to take that time to reflect, to be aware of some of this unconscious programming that we don't even realize it, that we're picking up things from. It might not even be from ourselves, it could be from other people. So, or what's going on in the world. It's pretty amazing.
It really is. And the simplicity that you speak of is something that I learned with Cloterra Pi. When he says he figures out the culture code for things, he says, you found the code when it's so simple. You say to yourself, I knew that, but yet it was so hidden away in plain sight. The example is the culture code for coffee is the aroma, it's the smell. Well, what do you think was the first impression you had with coffee? Smelling it in the kitchen. That's exactly what the culture code is. The culture code for sex in the United States is violence. Okay, the culture code for love in the United States is false expectation. Now, when you hear those things, your brain goes, oh my God, of course it's true. Think about it. Sex is violence. I'm going to nail her. I'm going to screw her. I'm going to pound her. I'm going to, you're going to beat it up. I actually know a guy who has a product called Beat It Up. And, it sells very well. It's a great product.
Yeah, I'm going to make her scream.
Yeah, you know what I mean? These are culture code things. Now, it does matter because it is a matrix of programming. And so when you find out what your beliefs and perceptions are running, the programs that are filtering your data, infinite worlds appear and reappear in the vast expanse of my consciousness, like motes of dust dancing in a beam of light, the Vedic scripture. I always go back to that because it's such a foundational piece. You really are living in a multiverse right now. What is governing what you're seeing? Your programs. And we were talking about this today. Michelle has helped me crack a really deep program with relating and relationships that goes back to age 12. I had a traumatic incident when my grandfather died, and I run this, sometimes this pattern loop comes out. And Michelle helped me see it. She's asking the right questions and helped me see the programs. And she's asking me, well, what is that? And I'm like, okay, here's what's going on. When we're running a traumatic hallucination, because that's what trauma is, it's a hallucinatory program that comes out of the conflicted state of being. You're not in real time. You're in a other dimension. You're speaking to an entity that's in another dimension. Really, you are. And so to bridge those, bring them back together, it requires a high degree of love and connectivity in order to bring that back together. And so Michelle's been helping me tremendously integrate and reintegrate. And this is something I first began my journey with Phineas Parkhurst Quimby. He talked about how he'd have 2 conversations with his people when he'd heal them mentally. One was with the person sitting in the chair, and another one was with the person stuck in their trauma from where they first took sick. And he would help walk them unconsciously back into the person in the chair. And once they became integrated, the healing was complete. And so that never made sense to me for many years. And then I started to figure out what he was doing. But now, going through the last onion layers of my own healing journey, I really see it for what it is now. I really do. And this is really deep, powerful work. And we're excited to take you into this work. I think it's incredible, and you need to do it at some point. Love is the ultimate goal. And we found out stuff about relationships and soulmates today. Wasn't that cool?
I'm just loving what I'm learning. It's really great. Yeah, I didn't realize, when you think of the word soulmate, you just, I think an image comes to everyone's mind, but maybe not the same image for each person, maybe depending on where you're at on your journey. And what I'm reading right now suggests that there are different types of soulmates, and suggesting that there may not necessarily just be one soulmate, but there may perhaps be a potential for a few along our journey if we're open to it. But not all soulmates are really compatible, which maybe I think we've experienced.
I love that laugh. It's like I've been there, done that.
True,
Yeah.
And then some soulmates, when you think of the word soulmate, you envision this, just deep, forever connection and this compatibility and this ease to relating with one another, that you can kind of feel each other and almost finish each other's sentences and tell what the other person is thinking. So, but there really are different types of soulmates, and so it is interesting that sometimes we do maybe attract a soulmate, but maybe the timing is off or the compatibility is off, and or maybe the life mission might not be in alignment, or maybe maybe you just are too different in your journey. So
so the one you shared with me, okay, I shared it with Sabrina. What was it called? What was it? It was brother, sister, like soul family. It says you may mistake your connection for intimacy, but don't be misled.
Right.
We talked about that from day one. I shared that with Sabrina, and she goes, "Oh my God, that was us."
Yeah. So some people may be soulmates here, and they connect with each other in this earthly existence to fulfill karmic paths that need to be finished. And so a lot of times when karma needs to be completed, it's not necessarily always a romantic, passionate experience. So but it can be kind of confused or disguised as that, and you think, well, yeah, this person and I, we just get each other, we really connect, and there's that that feeling like we just know each other, we understand each other.
Yes.
But it may not necessarily be romantic. It might more so, like you said, be a brother and sister relationship.
That's it. And trust your intuition. When you know. And what you and I have a unique kind. And what was the type that you read that we have? What is that? It was the right time, something like the growth cycle. And
yeah, the timing is a big part of it. So so your true destiny soulmate comes into your path and vice versa in the right time of your life. And also, you both have the same mission here on earth.
That's it, yes.
So you share, it's the timing and mission.
Yep.
And the passion that you share together.
And that really, we didn't even know what we were she brought this to my attention. I read it and I said, oh my gosh, that's us. How did you feel about it? Do you think that was us? I mean, I felt it was to the T, like couldn't be, I think we have a little bit more than that even, but I think that's a good start,
Yeah, and I think I've known my mission for a while. And I think it's great to explore, like, what is my mission, outside of all of my relationships with others, what is my purpose here on earth, and I guess I've known that for a long time. It's been really clear to me, and I see it as evidence in my past. And so, and I'll just share with you, I mean, I am here to lead others closer to God. And there may be, different ways of doing that. Part of it is just through music.
Oh, your music, you guys are missing the boat. Like, we really need to sit at your piano and just record you worshiping and playing music. It is otherworldly.
Yeah.
And you can't discount that. It is so profound. So that's going to come. Our stage together is just beginning. We're like a new band. We're finding our harmonies, our grooves, our synchronicity, and we're figuring this out, and it's really awesome. And most of our conversations, when we're not even trying, like this right now, is like, you guys should catch us when we're just talking, just in general, like the stuff that we come up with and the insights. That's where all the work that you guys have heard me talk about for the past 10 months, that's where it's all been coming from. We just have conversations, and all this crazy cool stuff just starts to pop into our awareness, and we're like, hey, there it is, There's that third mind they talk about. The God mind just pops right out. And I love it. It's great. And so, what are we talking about for ideas here? We got ideas for the event, okay? We're going to teach the Eye of God. I have a whole complete refresher course on skill set training on everybody to go through, because I work with one-on-one V.I.P clients every day, and it never fails. Two things are always happening. First thing is people get unexpectedly disrupted in their emotional state, and they forget all about the self-entrainment technique, and they stop doing it, and then they look at their life and they're like, oh, everything's out of order, nothing's working. And I'm like, have you done sets in a while? They're like, no. I'm like, well, what's your level of joy at? They're like, 3. I'm like, well, what are you supposed to do about that? Sets. Why don't you do it? And they do it, and then like a day later, because everything queues up in progression, all of a sudden money starts pouring back in again. Everything's good. The universe is bright and happy and all over again. And I said, guys, realistically speaking, you live in a multiverse, and whatever frequency you're on is what you're experiencing. And the whole goal is, when you lose your frequency peg and you go back into like lower states and acceptable joy, everything sucks. So you bring it back up and everything's great again. So we're all guilty of it. That's why I teach this relentlessly. So for those of you who know sets, do your sets and stop cheating yourself. You're missing out on your own abundance. It's coming from within your heart. So we're going to do skills training 101. I'm going to refresh all the skills, build your daily habits all over again, and teach you the new Eye of God technique, which you're going to be giddy over. It's going to give you mental orgasms for months, because you're going to you're going to blast through walls that you didn't even know were there. Really, I'm not even kidding you. It's going to be like, you're going to wonder how you ever lived without doing this, really. And for those of you guys who are not coming, you're probably going to want to put a fork in your eye after you figure out how great this is. I won't say it as crude as that email I put out the other day, but I don't know. I didn't ask Michelle about what she thought about that before I put it out. So next time I'm going to run it by her before I go ahead and just geek out on the computer and let my funny guy come out a little too much. Time to retract him back in. So
That'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't look for the tweezer email. If you didn't see that one, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That was getting a little too excited. I scaled up sets to probably like a 10 on that day. I was a little too happy, and I don't know if most people could handle that much joy coming at them, So Anyway, these darn, what do you call these, deer flies?
Friends.
Yeah, they're like our audience. They're like circling around like, hey, tell the story about this again, guys. Come on, we love that story. Tell the story how she smacked you in the head 5 times today while you were rollerblading. So if Michelle smacks me in the head, it's because that's how you get rid of these deer flies, and she likes to do it. She'll remember a certain time when I wasn't listening, and she'd be like, oh my gosh, here's my opportunity. Matt, you know, fly in your head.
That time you fell asleep on the phone when we were talking.
Oh, there was twice, actually.
Twice.
Lest I remind
maybe
you.
Maybe three.
Oh, they are getting greedy now. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna do some cool stuff at the event. That's back to the point, right? So, what are some of the things that you're looking forward to during this Door County getaway that we're gonna do?
Well, first of all, just being in Door County, I think, is going to be fabulous. It's going to be gorgeous. The colors up there are going to be peak, and being in that environment is always energizing, rejuvenating, and restorative. So, an opportunity to unplug and not use my cell phone and computer and technology is going to be great.
Yes.
I mean, I'll be back in the full swing of, working. I have a few jobs, I work a lot, and I'm also a busy mom. So just a little getaway, a nice retreat, just to be there and to be with you is going to be, I think, really amazing in itself. So, you know what? Above and beyond that, I don't even have any expectations. I think all is going to be well. All is going to be perfect. I just know it's going to be energizing and restorative and and romantic.
You guys deserve romance. You really do. You really should bring yourself single or somebody. Doesn't matter. We're going to show you how to romance no matter what. Romancing the spirit, romancing your partner, whatever you want to romance. Just bring whatever you need to and we'll romance. Like it's gonna be great. You're gonna love it. Look, every event we've done has always been amazing. Always from the beginning. These new events with At One, this is gonna be the next level because the teaching is the next level and the feeling and the vibe is coming from the next level. And so when you get to that space, that space is going to take over. It's going to, environment conquers will. You're going to be part of that environment. And I promise you, the eye of God, when you learn this technique, and here's the deal. If you don't have the money to come and you don't have the resources, we really got to go back to square one. And I really have to teach on that right now. So first of all, you are given as it is done unto you according to your own level of reciprocity here. So to those who have no resources, it's because your spirit of giving is not there. Your heart, it's from the heart. You've fallen into fear. You've started to believe all the programs out there that there's lacks and shortages and you're going to run out and it's going to be, you're going to die next week. And you started to really give your affection to that. And we all are being bombarded by that. But never at any point in the universe is that ever true. And like Mary Baker Eddy said, an unselfed love receives immediate divine power. And when you get busy finding someone in trouble, that is your doorway out of trouble. And you start pouring your love and affection into that space, the universe starts to pick up the pieces for you. And so to those who don't have financial resources, my heart does go out. But yet at the same time, my heart goes out as to why your heart is not going out. Nobody is impoverished through a spirit of loving and giving, ever, for any point of existence. You will never find your needs unmet if you seek first the kingdom, because all these things will be added unto you. That's the second key. So, unselfed love receives immediate divine power. Second key is seek first the kingdom, and all these things will come unto you. A lot of times, people are trying to do things through human will. They're saying, well, I better just pick up more hours. I better pick more jobs up. And ultimately, that statement is you saying, I can take the burdens of life upon myself. And then God says, well, try that for a while and see how that works for you. And instead of you just yield and trust, in a moment in God's presence will reveal, well, better take an hour. An hour in God's presence will reveal the flaws in your most carefully laid plans. Let's just put it that way. So, yield to some of these wisdom ideas and use the RIP app 5 times a day. I created that for you so that you could yield to wisdom and you could seek the kingdom. It is your self-defense mechanism against the modern day warfare of the prince of the air. By the way, people ask who that is. Well, Satan is the prince of the air. Well, what is the air? It's telecommunication. It's media, social media. It is engineered social engineering. And what it's designed to do is to get you to look out there for the report of what is happening and to get you to succumb to that fear, to that doubt, to those insecurities. So Michelle's saying, get off those devices. And I have to say, she's true. She's right. Go out in nature. Let nature minister to you for a while. Look at the abundance out here. Does God have an abundance problem? Absolutely not. The reason why man has an abundance problem is because man has looked away from God. And that's the point. So there is no higher mission for you than to go all the way into this work. And so in my perspective, I built this workshop and the one coming up, and every workshop I build, I say, if it were me and I were looking to go deeper into my knowledge, what would I want to attend? And I build the workshop on that. And so in my life phase right now, I'm like, well, I want to build a lover's retreat workshop so I can go build like memories and I can have a superior time and learn everything I want to learn and do it that way. And it's even more fun that way. So it's all there for you. The New Man Workshop starts on the 20th. Links below. You've got the Healing Practitioner Level 1, Class 2, starting in September to be announced. The link will be below soon. And then you've got the Granddaddy Finale in October, the big event, the Cosmic, Galactic, Multi-Orgasmic Explosionary event of your Stellar Lumens integrated XRP Ripple network system built on a Cardano, Web3 interface, all of these crazy ideas, which will obviously never become investment advice, and you didn't hear it here first. But what I'm telling you is this is going to be the next level for you. Spiritual Web 3.0 is coming. So, what do you think about that crazy rant I just made?
I love it.
You do? See, she can put up with this. This is a good woman right here.
I accept you. I love
Thank you. Thank you so much. See, now I don't have to walk alone and ramble. I've got someone that actually wants to be there and wants to love and wants to reciprocate, and I learned so much because she is a master number 22. You guys have seen nothing yet. You guys watch me ramble all the time. Wait till you see this performance right here. Like, we haven't seen this yet. So we're kind of keeping this tucked away a little bit because I want her to steal all my glory right away. I haven't beat her yet in any games that we played. So she's a true like enigma. Like, we play Battleship, never. I'm not going to ever win. We play pool. No, I still haven't won yet. I won one game out of like 5 or 10 or something like that. So I think that was because she wasn't looking at the balls when she was shooting. So something like that.
I was looking at something else.
Yeah, she was looking at me. Flex. No. That's how I distract her. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a good time. And I hope you guys find the joy that, Michelle and I really have a level of joy that, I'm going to leave you with some parting wisdom. I want you guys to see this, okay? This is a little tidbit I'm going to share on day 1 in the New Man Workshop before I get into all of the red letter scriptures that you want to know, because I'm going to read them from the consciousness of being atoned, okay? I'm not going to read them in a way that the word just kind of slips by and you're like, yeah, I've heard that before. I'm going to read it to you in a way that you're like, holy man, like the sun just shined on me. Like I see it. I'm there. I'm in the word. I'm going to give you that bread of life through this clinic. But anyway, these deer flies, man. They really do kind of get overwhelming. And I thought that this wasn't their territory, but they're still here. So anyway, what was I going to say before that? I was like talking about something, and geez, who knows?
Well, we were hoping for some more followers, so I don't know what to say.
Yeah, be careful when you ask for more followers. God, I would like actually conscious, sentient, human, spiritual followers, okay?
Right.
Yeah, deer flies, I love their enthusiasm, but ultimately they really are a burden. So let's just let them go. Okay, now here's the tidbit I want to leave you with before we go. Okay. When you decide that you want to manifest something, and a lot of people do this, I'm going to tell you the dirtiest little secrets you've never heard before. You must choose the self-worth to accept it immediately and never turn back from that moment instantly. Otherwise, the energy recycles and goes back to the higher self. You lose it. How many manifestations have people made and they're like, oh, it's just not happening. It doesn't work. And it's like, no. You don't understand how this thing works. The moment you assume it in conscious imagination and thought, you have started to, what you call Nevilleize this. You've started to bring it in from the spirit. It's already you. In another mansion, you've already expressed it. It's already yours. The expression of what it is what you're looking for. For example, you may never be an NBA pro basketball player. That might be just a pipe dream that you're, smoking something to try to achieve. But it doesn't mean you can't express the joy behind that vision. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for the joy behind it. Now, if you don't move in that direction instantly, like if you don't go get your basketball gear on and you don't just take to the courts and say, this is who I am, I've just made a new identity shift. In other words, if your identity doesn't shift immediately to match the vibration of what you said you want, you are out of alignment with it. And by forfeiture, you have just done a spiritual no-fap experience. And what I mean by that is there's nothing to create life energy that comes out of you, so it recirculates back up into the divine. Now, that'll bake your noodle once you really understand what that is. Really. Now, what I'm going to teach you is how you choose the self-worth to accept your desires. How do I know how to do this? Because I had to do this to accept the highest intimacy I've ever had in my life. Okay? And I figured this out, and I want to share this with you guys. I know where these programs are, and I know what they consist of. They are the subatomic particles that you would say are mental frameworks that create your self-identity. They're mental perceptions that are lingering in your outer and inner worlds in plain sight where you don't even see them. And once I get you to see them through a process of transference and show you how to eliminate and neutralize them through scientific principle reasoning, which Mary Baker Eddy did and which Penny Parker's Quimby did, which I'll show you how to do, and I show you how to access altered states of brainwave consciousness to do it instantly, guess what happens? Presto, you're right there.
There it is.
You choose the self-worth right in that moment. And then the rest of it is reinforcement. And how do you do that? Self-entrainment technique. Boom, done. That's how you do this game. See, without the self-worth to match what you say you want, you are just literally smoking a pipe dream. You're having a hallucinatory experience of some other reality that really looks nice, but you're not there. Your frequency is not there. And then you wonder, well, why isn't it happening? Like I said, I'm going to be a multimillionaire. Where's the money? So what I've extrapolated is how you align with it. I've done it with the money. I've done it with the relationships. I've done it with the well-being. I've seen it happen in every account. It took me 9 years to figure out how to do this from a mentor I had when I first had gotten into this kind of work. When I went from the bug house, literally we had box elder bugs crawling, to the $5.5 million mansion, I had to choose the self-worth to get there. And the mentor that I had got me to logistically believe something that was an absolute ridiculous statement, but he got me to believe it. And because I chose that self-worth, I accepted in that moment everything that I said I wanted. And what was that belief? He got me to believe I was the most important man in the world at this time. Literally, he got me to believe that. How did he do it? I figured it out after 9 years. I figured out how he got me to do it. And that's what I can do, is show you how to do it for yourself. See, if you can't believe that at the unconscious level, well, then everything you're trying to achieve is being no-fapped right back to the spirit, because there's no place for it to create, because your self-image is the reflection of you outside of you. And if it doesn't fit the model that you're allowing it to flow through, it just goes right back instantly. And so every time you draw it in, you feel the energy of it, like The Secret says, oh, I just feel it, I feel it. Great, that's exciting. You're creating arousal. It's sexual energy squared, that's what it is. But you don't have an outlet for it to birth, because you have aborted it. You've had a spiritual abortion of your creative experience because your self-identity doesn't fit the model. And that's the missing secret. And I test you to prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Look at every one of your influencers out there that's achieved all their goals and dreams. The reason why they've done it is not because they know more than you. That's not it. You've done all their courses. You've studied all their stuff. That's why I go burn their books. Why? Because if I have to look to them for something, it means that they chose the self-image and I chose to be a follower. Get this? Why do I not follow them? Because I don't need them. Because that means that they are the wolf pack leader and I'm the little scrub following them. See? Choose the self-worth to be. And then, out of the quality of your doing, you will have. I'm not kidding you. This is how the game works. Right?
Yeah. I think we're going to burn some books.
We're going to do a book burning ceremony at the thing. It's going to be called the Celebrity Book Toss. So I want you to bring your top 3 celebrities' books. And you know, once you throw them in the fire as a symbol of getting rid of their, following them around like a lapdog, you can actually be the guru to yourself. Gee, you are you, right? The guru. That's probably my favorite part of the whole thing, is when we do our celebrity book burn. Unfortunately, I already threw their books away years ago, so I only have the really good ones now from people that I actually really, really admire, that never took on any sort of clout, but they were always elevated to the highest game. And they still chose the self-worth. Mary Baker Eddy, she believed she was on assignment from God. And that's why she chose the self-worth, and her ministry exploded. And there it is right there. And there's a few others that I followed that I still do, but most of those people, like all the big names that you probably think of, I've already chucked their books. I threw those out in the garbage years ago. Just don't need them. Because once I figured out, once you choose the self-identity and you bring in the arousal state, sexual energy squared, we're going to do a sex energy video part 3.0 coming up soon here. That's our next video. You want to do that one?
I'm reading and learning a lot, and I'm fascinated. Yeah, about it's not just about sex. It's sexual energy.
Yep.
And it's direct connection with abundance and creativity.
Absolutely.
I'm learning, so
absolutely.
I'm going to keep learning more.
Absolutely. You know, transmuting sexual desire into alchemizing the spirit into formation is what the whole creative process is. But you see, most people are shooting blanks or shooting nothing at all because they really don't have an outlet for it to flow. Or they reduce it down to, oh, I manifested car parks. I got an extra $100 this week. That's not bad. That's the same process. It's the same process to create $100 as it is to create 5 million. Really, it is. But who is the person who can manifest 5 million versus who is the person who can only manifest 100? This is what you have to understand. How do you change that framework around? Because if you can do that, there's no difficulty between one and the other. It's the same process. And that's what you're going to learn. And if that's not worth your time and investment, then you're probably already there, and I should be, buying your book probably, huh? So send me your book, please. I want to read about it. But ultimately, I'm not even going to write a book about this. It's not even worth it. I told my audience, I'm not going to cast these nuggets on the world, because why should I? Here's the truth. Everybody is trying to sell you this stuff and tell you, like, oh, here's how you manifest, and they're selling it to you. Well, realistically, why are they selling it to you? Do they need you to prop them up? Or are, like, realistically, I'll minister to people who want to be in a private setting, but I'm not going to put this out there in public and be like, oh, you must listen to me. I must give you this, I must give you all my secrets, you know? Who would do that? Who would just put it out there like to everybody? These are my most jealously guarded secrets, right? There's only one reason to do that. One reason. And that's to impartation. And like Mike Murdoch taught me years ago, he said, first you qualify before you teach. He said, qualify those who want to learn from you before you teach them. And I will take his advice. Mike Murdoch, in my estimation, he's legendary. On faith alone, he ran a $15 million a year ministry for a long time. I mean, the man faithed in $15 million a year just to run his ministry operations. Now, I think he knows a few things. I think he understands prosperity a little bit. And these days, people are like, oh, the prosperity gospel is just it's not holy. The church shouldn't have any money. And then these people are going out and like worshiping and slaving their time for money. And the minister is trying to teach them the consciousness of how you can create ideas that build fortunes and choose the self-worth to have it. And they're all shooting the preacher down. They're shooting the preacher down. It's a sad day. I've seen so much of this that it's heartbreaking to me. I mean, they don't get it, that success leaves clues. And where you see tremendous success, it's right in plain sight. If you learn how to choose it, you'd have it. Anything I didn't say?
I think you said it all.
Gosh, I was on a rant tonight, wasn't I?
I think it's great.
Can you handle that? Was that too much?
Mm.
I was stressing you a little bit, wasn't it? Just a little bit.
It's never too much for me.
Never too much? Oh, that's my bougie. All right. Guys, we'll see you on the next one, okay?